going to convert this children's robot dinosaur into a steampunk dragon. These angle brackets are used to stop windows from completely opening. I'm going to screw these onto the back of the dragon to represent its wings. To make the dragon more interesting, I want to add spines down the back. So to do this, I'm going to use wooden cocktail sticks. I'm going to drill small holes in the plastic, cut up the cocktail sticks, and then stick them into the holes. I've glued the spines in place onto the neck and onto the tail. I'm now going to use these plastic rhinestones to stick onto the open pieces of plastic to act as rivets. I've glued small rivets all over the dinosaur, and I've also added some plastic pieces to the head. Now I'm going to spray the top side with plastic primer. I'm now going to add some texture paint to the underside of the dragon. So this is quite coarse textured paint, so I only want to use a small amount and I want to concentrate it on the underside. I'm now going to use some fine texture paint and I'm going to concentrate this on the sides of the dragon. Now I'm going to spray the underside a brass colour. I'm going to put a small amount of the fine textured paint on the top. Now I'm going to put a layer of the brass spray paint over the top of the dragon. I'm now going to cover the dragon in a brown wash. This needs to be done as a single coat. Here's the dragon after the wash has dried. The next stage is to dry brush a layer of bright brass over the top of the wash. I want to make the wings out of fabric. Because my sewing skills are quite limited, I've asked Nikki to take over this part of the build.
To make the wings, we've drawn round the frame of the wing onto a piece of paper and cut it out, and we've just stuck it on temporarily. The lines here and here we've drawn in because we're going to add a cocktail stick in there to add some structure to the wings. So where we've drawn the lines, we're going to cut it, and then when we redraw it, we're going to add 1 centimetre in of width on each of those so that we can fold them back, make a little seam that we can put a cocktail stick in. So now we've redrawn it again, but this time we've added in the 1 centimetre that we need to hold the cocktail sticks. So we've just cut the pattern, moved it apart and added a section in, and we've added some more bits on which are going to be seams and hems, and we've also we've cut a little section out at the top which is going to go around the joint in the wing. So then we've redrawn that on a piece of fabric quite roughly, because that's what we're going to use to make the pattern of the wing. Starting with the curved bit, you need to just snip into the curve so that it will actually fold over properly. So just do that all the way around, and then use your magic sewing weapon, which is an iron. You need to fold these bits over and iron them into place before you sew them. You do not have to be an expert at sewing this by any stretch of the imagination, but you will need an iron. It's making suitable monster noises. So now you've got a curve. Which you can then sew down neatly with some kind of blanket stitch to hold it down. You won't be able to do a double fold on that because it's just too small. Do some kind of blanket type stitch and just slowly so around the curve. This one's quite a nice triangular one that makes it sort of look like dragony scales as well. When you've stitched that curve in like this, it's not perfectly neat, you then need to do exactly the same with the bottom part, all the curves on there. In order to hold the little cocktail sticks to make the structure of the wings, we need to make a fold in the fabric, and so I've folded it, and you can see where the lines I've drawn are the same both sides, and we're going to sew down that line, and that should make a little fold to hold the stick. So you've sewn your straight line straight across to make your fold. You can then add your cocktail stick, hopefully, which has gone through, and then when you open the wing out you can see you've got a strut to keep your wing solid. We've done a row of stitching here as well so that we can slide the wing on. We're going to glue the bottom part in place or hand sew it because we couldn't slide it on with a narrow row of stitching because of the wing joint.
Here's the dragon with both wings attached.